What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and this is our instant reaction to the Bengals 21-14 victory over the Browns. And
As instant as it gets.
yeah, we're quick, but Burrow's first win in Cleveland. They're 1-1 in the division, and they're stacking wins. So, I mean, what was your initial thought?
Well, after you said stacking wins, I was trying to think of a more modest term for stacking. Slowly gathering wins. I mean, I'm glad they won. Big victory, all that other stuff. But it'd be nice if the offense showed up in the first half. I don't want to talk. I feel like I'm too negative. Why don't you talk? You're way more positive than I am.
Well, first things first. I made the thumbnail with Geno Smith, and I'm not trying to throw shade at him or anything, because he had the pick, and I really like that screenshot. And I was making the thumbnail, and then he got hurt, so I hope he's not hurt, or it's not like a serious injury. I mean, it looks pretty rough.
Yeah, I think they said it was a tibia.
Oh my gosh,
broken leg. But hopefully, I mean, it's probably like a season thing, but hopefully it's just a season thing, and he's back next season. Because I know I've been super hard on him. But he had the pick, so
I think he had a pretty good, decent last couple of weeks, including this week.
Yeah, I mean, I know he made a stop in the hole on a run one. I noticed it in the first half, so
well,
hope
I guess
he recovers quickly.
As far as the positives, right off the bat, Charlie Jones.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was crazy. And then the Bengals get a 3-and-out. So it looked like we were en route for a pretty big lopsided game. But then, I just feel like the Bengals offense haven't had a really good rhythm. I mean, they kind of found a better I guess, stride in the third quarter, but they didn't really do anything in the fourth. But I would say the biggest positive is the defense again stepped up.
Yeah.
I know they kind of got a touchdown late, but I kind of consider that garbage time touchdown.
I feel like it's like a Zach Taylor thing to be out of sorts, it just feels like they're always going for the big play, right? Like Zach's trying to scheme up a big play instead of to me, one of the biggest plays of the game was they hit T. Higgins on a 5-yard slant and the corner missed the tackle and he scored a touchdown. I feel like by constantly trying to scheme up a mismatch or a deep ball, they don't hold the ball enough for the athletes to play, right? I mean, we have T. Higgins, we have Jamar Chase, we have Chase Brown. If they get touches, they're going to make big plays. But it's we're always holding the ball, looking for the deep ball. And I feel like Burrow held on to the ball way too much or for way too long in the first half instead of just dumping it off to the back and taking sacks. I mean, it's just just get the ball out in the flat. That's
kind of what I go back to, finding a rhythm, and it didn't seem like in the first half they found anything. And I will say this, they did take a few deep shots where I felt like they were catchable passes, and our receivers didn't really make the play, and I think that would have made a difference. But yeah, I think sometimes we overthink the play, and we just don't let our players make plays, just simply what you just said. So it's just even on our first drive, I forget what they did, but I feel like they tried to do something cute with the run play instead of just running up the middle and just seeing what they got, but I will say this, I think there was a problem. Orlando Brown Jr. did get hurt, I think, in the second quarter, and I think when he got hurt, they really exposed that. But by the second half, they really shored that up. I don't think they gave up a sack in the second half, I think.
Yeah.
But I felt like they gave up pretty crucial sacks in the first half, 3 of them, I think. But yeah, I would say I hope Orlando Brown Jr. is back.
Yeah,
there was a big drop off.
Optimistic about that because he was standing around on the sideline in his uniform in the second half. I remember seeing him chopping it up. So maybe it was just precautionary that they held him out. And I think that Ford held up okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like the second half.
In the long run.
second half they figured something out and they weren't giving up all those hits, and maybe it was just get rid of the ball sooner. I mean,
I was going to say that was the first thing they did in the second half when they got the ball was they gave the ball to Chase Brown, and he ran opposite of Garrett, and he had like that 20-yard run, and then we throw that screen pass, or not really a screen pass, but I think Moss was in the flats or whatever, and he got like 20 yards, and then Chase got his touchdown, and it was just like, that's the Bengals offense that we know. And then of course that second touchdown that we got was the one that you were talking about, where it was just like, we just take a simple 5-yard slant.
Yeah, it's just like
players make plays.
They need to focus more on just sustaining drives, just keep the ball a little bit. And I feel like they take unnecessary injuries on defense, because instead of assaulting the game away on offense, they leave it to the defense to take all those extra hits. I mean,
I will say this on that passer interference. I think when they scored their first touchdown,
the pass interference.
Yeah.
I
don't think it was.
You thought it was a good call?
No, I don't think it was, because again, it was like the receiver jumped into I thought he made a good play. He was actually looking at the ball, and the receiver initiated the contact. And then,
the receiver hit him in the chest with his hand first, and then like spun around, and there was hand fighting, and he just didn't catch the ball.
Yeah, I thought it was a good play on my end as far as the DB. But yeah, it was. I don't know. It just seems like they automatically call the Bengals DBs for PIs, even if the receivers jump into our DBs. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. But I mean, other teams can get away with it, so it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the refs had themselves a game, but so I don't know. They have the Zach Taylor press conference on X up. I don't know.
Did Hendrickson get credit for 2 sacks? I couldn't tell if that last one.
He should have. That last one would be a sack, because
that was the only reason.
Too. That was the only reason he was down, was because he got hit. Let's see if they have sacks. So the Browns allowed 4 sacks. I mean, it was the defense played exceptional, and it was like, however bad the Browns offense was, for some reason the Bengals offense did worse in the first half. I mean, but again, I mean, maybe it's just a matchup for the Bengals. Maybe they just struggle against the Browns. So even when they should have blown them out, they just came out with like this was by the third quarter, the game was over, basically. Or beginning of the fourth quarter, the game was over. I mean, Browns fans gave up, with 10 minutes left in the game. So,
and then we were in that situation where it was like 21 to, I think they still only had 6 at that point, but they punted, but somehow, I think it was a bad call on Charlie Jones to let it go over his head, and they they downed it on the 5-yard line. Even though we punt that ball, we still got at least 1 first down. I think Chase Brown had that 11-yard run, and to me that was good. Even though like we had a punt, it's like you don't want to do anything stupid, right? If you pass, you mess up, that's a pick 6. They're definitely back. Like they have a lot more momentum, right? So it's like I felt like they did the right thing. They punt, they play situational football, and
that's that Chase Brown 9-10-yard run.
It was like 11 yards.
That's a game-winning play, I mean, those are the types of plays you have to make to win games. Because if he doesn't do that, the Browns would have another, how much time do you run off with 3 plays? Like a minute or two? Another minute or two, maybe they, instead of having to do the onside kick, maybe they kick off, put a little bit more pressure on the Bengals. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and then Hubbard, he had his pick.
Yeah, that was a nice pick.
Yeah, no, it was funny because like I could see Pratt like getting ready to get it, but then he just snuck up right in front of him and grabbed it, which you're supposed to do. It was a pretty good technique. Like you're always taught to grab the ball at the highest point, and that's basically what he did. So pretty athletic move for a defensive end if you think about it.
Oh, and I know this is like one of my favorite little things, but look at that. Just as I was getting ready to talk about that Njoku catch at the end, It's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, don't try to deflect the pass. Just while he's in the air, give him a 2-hand shove into the chest and see if he can get that foot down. You know what I mean?
I think that's what he tried to do, though.
No, he went up for the ball. It's just that, you got Cam Taylor-Britt, who's a corner, and you got Njoku, who's like a athletic tight end.
I mean, if you're going to push him out of bounds, you always got to go low. You're going to have to, like,
well, that's what I'm saying. He
legs.
shouldn't have jumped up. He should have just slowed down and waited for him to touch the ball and just 2-hand shove him right in the stomach and see if he can get that foot down, which I don't think he would.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough play.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that that's the play I would try to make. Oh, yeah, and this reminds me here. Remember, I thought that they were going to call him for landing on DTR, and I
thought that's what it was when I...
For sure.
I wasn't listening to the broadcast, and I was like, really? Because, like, as soon as he made that, like, prayer signal, and then he pulled out the flag, I was like, is he really going to do that to him? And then they called it intentional grounding.
Yeah, which it was. But, I mean, and, like, on the replay, Hendrickson didn't land on him, so, I mean...
That to me, that was textbook. Like, he put his shoulder into him and he landed.
You can't do any better than that.
Right.
Because he started off when he tackled him and got him in the air, he was like chest to chest. And then he kind of slid off to the right and like did a push-up as he landed. And that was pretty good. I mean, if they want guys not to like absolutely destroy quarterbacks, then they need to like not call those penalties. Because if you're going to get a penalty for trying not to do it, like dudes are just like not going to hold up.
And there was a play earlier in the game where Hendrickson kind of did the same thing, where he kind of went to the side and he fell onto his knee, and it looked like he kind of like hurt himself a little bit. And I was like, see, that's what happens when you overprotect a particular position. Because I feel like there's several instances where defensive ends, because I mean, they're freak athletes too, and it's really hard to stop that momentum, but they've had like knee injuries solely based off of just trying to avoid not like crushing the quarterback. It's kind of crazy. I don't think there's a perfect way to doing it, but yeah, it was interesting. Is there anything else that like stands out?
I mean, the defense keeps playing better, and unfortunately, I mean, for reasons that, we don't hope for, right? We're going to see a lot more Jordan Battle. So,
yeah,
I guess we'll find out. I mean, not that we wish for anything bad to happen to Geno, but,
yeah, because again, it looked like he was starting to play pretty good. I mean, he had that pick, which pretty much sealed the game. And then, and it felt like the last couple of weeks, I was interested to see what his PFF score was for this game, because I felt like it was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll have to remember to look at that next time we stream.
I thought Osai had a few good plays in there where he either had pressure or tipped a pass or whatever. So I thought he had a decent game. Oh, and then overall, the Bengals' run defense was pretty solid. I mean, Chubb played a lot more.
Yeah, that was way more than we thought he was going to play. I thought.
Yeah,
like,
but they really toned it down in the second half. I think I only saw him like 5 times in the second half. But he did get his touchdown. But I think he only had like 20 or maybe 25 yards, which is like that's pretty good. But again, we kind of expected that, as far as like he's not at his like top peak form or whatever. So it's like this is kind of like his preseason. But yeah, it was kind of crazy how much they played him early on. I'm like, do you? I mean,
yeah. The thing is, you could see that on Twitter, but it looks like as Zach Taylor said, Geno Stone's leg isn't as bad as they thought. So maybe that's good news on the injury.
Oh, okay, good. I mean, and I was even thinking like, hopefully it might be one of those things where maybe he can get back late into the season if possible.
Yeah, no,
this is good. Like, this would be the best of both worlds, where like you can get those younger DBs a little bit more experience and then get another veteran back in late in the season, and then hopefully if the Bengals continue to do what they need to do, then that would be like perfect timing. So
yeah, but I guess at the end of the day, it's good to have a win. It's good
stack
to be, yeah. I mean, what are we now, 3-4?
3-4.
3-4. So,
but more importantly, we're 1-1 in the division. Yeah. So you can't like overlook that.
Right.
And, and give credit to the Browns defense. The Browns defense, I think overall, if you just look from top to bottom, probably one of the more solid defenses you're going to see.
Yeah.
I think they were.
I mean, like I was saying before the game, I mean, there's talk that they're looking to get rid of one of their defensive ends, man. If I were the Bengals, I'd be giving the Browns front office. I wouldn't even give them a call. I'd walk across the hall and knock on the door and say, hey, let's deal. I mean, if we could flip like a 5th or 6th round pick for one of their starting defensive ends.
Well, thinking about it, I think Murphy even had some pretty solid plays. Like,
yeah,
he's
Murphy
really
looked. Yeah, I mean, he had that tip pass in the end zone.
He's really good at chasing down the quarterback too. I mean, he's obviously not going to catch down or track down like a Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, you know what Murphy looks like to me?
Yeah,
he looks like a young Hubbard. I mean, he's not projecting to be like this elite pass rusher kind of guy, but he looks like he's like
a Hubbard but fast.
Yeah, like a guy that can do weird stuff. No,
that's good. I think that's kind of what you need for Lou.
I guess.
In a weird way, when after Watson got hurt, I thought maybe that was like a kind of like a blessing in disguise for them, because they did bring up the fact that like they didn't prepare for their backup quarterback, Thompson, or I forget his name, but
I think the Browns are tanking, man.
At this point, I think they're going, especially with Watson being hurt, and it's like,
I mean,
if it's an Achilles,
DTR is not an NFL quarterback. I mean, Jameis Winston should have been in that game as soon as Watson went down. Jameis Winston's like I mean, he's not like an elite NFL player, but I mean, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he throws too many picks and takes too many chances, but aside from high turnover rate, I mean, he can do everything else. I mean, I really question the Browns organization with that decision, and it's you can just see it falling apart, because like I think the players are picking up on the team isn't going to try to win this year. And
no, I think at this point they're going to have a fire sale. I mean, Watson's out, so it's like now they have the ultimate excuse not to play. Like, I mean, if they really want to tank, they continue to play that quarterback, whoever they had as their backup. I guess if he's not seriously hurt, because they said he got hurt.
You see this Kelsey Conway tweet? So it looks like Orlando Brown says he's good, and Geno Stone says he's good too. Says if it was up to him, he wouldn't miss next week.
I mean, well, they play the Eagles, so I mean,
he's probably hurt, but it looks like it's just a short-term thing, right? Which is good.
Yeah. I see you rest him. You play it safe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no. I mean, if guys can't. I mean, especially at safety, man. If you can't run, I mean, what are you gonna do?
I mean, realistically, I bet he misses. I bet they even contemplate putting him on IR to return or whatever. Because like the shin, I don't think. Even if he didn't break it, right? Or if it's not like a serious, because is there a difference between like a hairline fracture versus like a clean break?
Don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, what I'm saying is like I just feel like minimum, it just seems like a 4-week injury if you just want to be like on the good side.
Yeah, it's hard to say though. I mean, they probably have X-ray machines at the facility. You probably have
for sure
within 30 seconds.
Well, I think you said they initially thought it was a broken tibia, right?
Yeah, that's what they said on the TV. I mean, take that for what it's worth.
Right. But if it's not, then what would be the step below that? Is that like would that be considered a sprain? I don't think you can sprain a shin. I'm sure there's a technical term for it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think
contusion is like a bruise, but I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into medical talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, in my head, it's at best, right? It's probably like a deep bone bruise. And I feel like, again, as a safety, you're probably going to need 3 or 4 weeks because those hurt, man, especially if you're running on it.
Yeah, and especially against.
Well, I guess they do have
Eagles.
like things
I feel
where
like the Eagles are a big test for like the safety position. They've got like a lot of good receivers and they run the ball real well. So you're gonna need a lot of tackles by your safeties.
But I guess they also have medicine where they can just really numb it and you won't really feel anything. So I guess if it's one of those things where you can play with it hurt and doesn't like increase the risk of injuring it more, then I guess you could. But we'll see. But that looks pretty optimistic. I'm happy for him because it did seem like he turned the page. But yeah, I mean, I feel good. I know the game kind of looked ugly at first, but again, the defense really stepped up. I just think if they can, I guess, just rely on the run a little bit more and just not be so cute about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just have those moments where they kind of just overthink it. And that's what it felt like a lot in the first half where they just couldn't find any rhythm. Yeah, but I think part of it is just like
average 3 yards a carry ish. I mean, at least Chase Brown only averaged 3 yards a carry. I did like that jet sweep by Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they should run that
3 times
not
a game.
necessarily with Jamar Chase every time, but that's a good play for them because I feel like they need to like stretch the width of the field a little bit, like make teams guard the wide parts of the field a little bit more.
I would like to see Jamar Chase and Chase Brown in the backfield at one point and then really confuse the defense because I feel like there's so many things you can do out of the backfield with them there, however you position them, because they both basically can do the same thing. Well, obviously, obviously,
not exactly
Jamar
the
Chase
same thing.
Well, yeah, Jamar Chase is more dynamic or whatever, but but it would just make the defense have to guess a lot of different things. I feel like, and it's like a low risk, high reward type of play because they both shown the ability if they can just break a few tackles, they could definitely take it to the house. So,
yeah. I feel like the Bengals, if they can get a little bit more pass rush from someone other than Hendrickson,
I think the defensive tackles are actually doing that. I felt like there's a few plays where
they're pushing the pocket a little bit. Yeah, I mean Sheldon Rankins got a sack. I mean they were really kind of all over the place in the backfield. And Watson was able to get away from a few sacks.
Yeah, there's one where he almost had a safety. It felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, Chubb.
And I guess it was
pushed him out of the way.
Yeah, it was pretty much a heads-up play by Chubb. He got there just in enough time to push Murphy's momentum out of the way. And I feel like it was one of those things where probably only Chubb could have done that because like Murphy's a pretty big dude and he's running at full speed.
Yeah,
but Chubb can squat like an insane amount of
weight. It's funny have you seen the videos of Chubb like doing squats at his high school?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's crazy because the bar bends so much it doesn't even look like it's a real bar. It just looks like it's a pool noodle.
And I will say this: as much as I don't like the other AFC North teams or most teams that the Bengals play, I've always liked Chubb. I just feel like he is a good guy, and it sucks to see him take some of the injuries that he's had, especially the one that he had last year, because it just seemed pretty dirty. But yeah, it kind of sucked to see him score because it was against the Bengals, but at the same time, it was kind of nice to see him score for him for having his first game back. So, yeah.
All right. Well, you want to end it here then?
Yeah. I don't have much else to say. I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully, we can get to 500. That'd be huge, and keep stacking those wins. That's pretty much what it is. Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
I was waiting for you to hit the end button so I could go.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you.